Okay, I'm going to try something here. I'm using the whiteboard from Howe-Two software as like a tablet, and you see it has the same things for changing. So I can draw on here and to change colors and stuff like that. So I'm going to use it here. I'm going to just clear everything. It's like the marker but without the screenshot. Now, I also have a menu up here so that you can't see it, but you can pick by the menu what you want to have happen. What I would like to do is to prove the quadratic formula. We've done, let's see if I can write this word, quadratic, with the mouse. This is not my best skill. You never know. You might need to be able to use your manual dexterity. Okay, we're going to use the quadratic formula. Now we've seen how to complete the square, but we're going through the same process over and over and over again. So somebody said, well, if we did the completing the square in the abstract, we could get a formula for the answers and we wouldn't have to keep doing that work over and over and over again. When I taught computer programming, I used to say to the kids, if you find yourself doing the same thing over and over and over again, there's got to be a better way. We can make a machine do something over and over again when we see the pattern. So let's see if we can see the pattern. If we had well, let's see, why don't I clear that, because I should probably do this in two. I didn't really want to get rid of this. Let's make up a problem like x squared plus 4x plus 6 equals 0. And now let's make up ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, where the a, b, and c could stand for any number. In this case, the a is 1, the b is 4, and the c is 6. Well, this problem that I made up, which is sort of like the ones we've already done for completing the square, is a lot easier than this one because of this a. Is there a way I could get rid of this a? This is going to stand for any quadratic equation that I can get. I could divide through by a, couldn't I? Not be scared. And I would get x squared plus b over a x plus c over a equals 0. So this side, you can see, it's a little more complicated, but it is a proof. If we were doing this by completing the square, the first thing we do is get rid of this 6. We would subtract 6 from both sides. So we would get x squared plus 4x equals negative 6. Let's do the same over here. It would be x squared plus b over a x equals minus c over a. My dog is getting restless again, and you probably hear her breathing. I apologize, I'm not doing this over. I tried to put her outside, but she wouldn't do it. All right, I'm going to change colors here. Now, we want to figure out what these two terms need to be perfect. I take half of this number, 2, square it, 4, add that to both sides. Now we're going to do the same thing for over here. What's half of b over a? Half of b over a is b over 2a. And if we square that, we get b squared over 4a squared. So this needs a b squared over 4a squared to be perfect. Man, I'm going to have to add that to this side. b squared over 4a squared. Hope I don't run out of space. I don't think this is going to take the marker down there. Well, the next step was to factor this into x plus 2 equals negative 6. Put this squared. I've got to factor this thing. I'm going to change colors again to blue. I can factor this, I'm not afraid. X plus b over 2a squared. Let's think about that. If I multiply b over 2a times b over 2a, I'm going to get that. If I multiply it times that times 2, I'm going to get b over a. That's right. And on this side, I've got minus c over a plus b squared over 4a squared. Let's rearrange that. Actually, we would want to get a common denominator, which would be, printer is low on toner in case you didn't know it. What we need to do is make the common denominator, which should be 4a squared. So I'll have to multiply this by purple. I'll have to no, I didn't want to print. It thinks that I want to print. I didn't really want to print. I pushed P for purple and it started to print. No wonder it told me the printer was low. Okay, I'm going to try to get another color here. I'm trying green now. Maybe green won't try to do something else. Yeah, I got green. So I need to get a common denominator here, which is going to be 4a squared. So I have to multiply this by 4a, which means I have to multiply this by 4a. I'm sorry, this is not very neat. I'm sure you can find this proof in your book. So I've got x plus b over 2a squared, and then over on this side, I'm going to put the b squared minus 4ac over 4a squared. That's actually what that all would combine to be. And this is x plus b over 2a squared. Now, what we would do when we were doing the simpler problem was we would take the square root of both sides, put in a plus or minus, and then we would get x plus 2 equals plus or minus square root of negative 6. Oh, we had imaginary numbers here. And then we would subtract 2 from both sides, and we would be done with this problem. I'm sorry about the negative. I should have not done that. You weren't really ready for that. But if we did the same thing here, take the square root of both sides, slip in the plus or minus, we have x plus b over 2a equals plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac, and take the square root of that 4a, it's going to be 2a. Then I can subtract b over 2a from both sides, and they have the same denominator, so I'm going to skip a step here because it's negative b, I'm running out of room, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Oh, this is what's called the quadratic formula. You need to memorize it. I have a program about the quadratic formula, and we will look at it next. It's a lot neater to see, but I didn't want to have you not see the proof here. It's in every Algebra 1 book, the proof of the quadratic formula, or it should be. Anyway, we're going to see that once we get it memorized, we can get away from having to do all that work from completing the square. When I need to solve an x squared equation, for a real world situation, I try to factor it. If it cannot factor, I use the quadratic formula to get the solution. It's so much quicker than completing the square. Although you could complete the square, and we would not be able to have the quadratic formula without completing the square. Hope you understood this. Thanks.